And gentlemen of the crypto space, we're live on a Monday, January 20th at 3:11 p.m. Today's a hell of a day, obviously with the inauguration and all, and obviously tomorrow is the commencement of extraordinary measures by the United States Treasury Department. This is going to be the same story that we've experienced, but it's always different, similar, it rhymes. There's so much volatility in the market. People's minds are melting with degeneracy. Equity indices are reaching, extreme levels, .com levels. Everything is at a crossroads. Bear in mind, it's kind of always at a crossroads. The question is how to navigate markets from in a rational way. And that's the last thing most people think about. Look at this Trump coin shit over the weekend, then rotates to Melania. And oh my God, it's insane. Now, there's some fundamental things that I think about, and we're obviously staring at the Bitcoin chart. And there's two things that I notice is these giant wicks. Okay, great. So we'll talk about my thought, but in the backdrop of these giant wicks, this insane volatility. This is kind of the topic I wanted to really focus on when I do one-on-ones, because I don't know who's seen it, but I posted on social media that I'm going to start doing one-on-ones again. I have a new ticketing system in Discord. It's pretty straightforward. It's not paid in dollars. It's paid in ARAT, A-R-A-T, which stands for Agent Rational. That whole agent I built over the weekend. Not that that is the most interesting project, but I find it cute. I find the notion of me taking these streams, converting them into data, and putting them into an AI agent to be interesting. And what comes along with a virtual agent is obviously a token. And that token, I tried to monetize it to the best extent I could, so it has a little bit of value. Micro cap compared to anything, irrelevant. The point is that one-on-one sessions are paid in ARAT, and I will not receive any money at all because the instruction is to not send it to me, it's to burn it to the Ethereum X000000 address 10 minutes prior to our appointment. So when that ARAT is burned, hopefully that's a nice mechanic. I mean, it's better than what so many folks do out there. Uh, with it's just meme coins, and meme coins are useless. So I didn't want to create a meme coin. I wanted to create something where people could pay me. I always wanted to do this, and I always wanted to do it in some sort of reasonable way. Hopefully with Discord, where it could be like a hardware device related payment. But I didn't want to get paid. The Discord has the fee, but this is something nice to be different. It's good to be different than all the other people. So do something different. Try and give back, philanthropic and stuff like that. So that's this. And the thought that I started this with was, what is the perspective? What is the most valuable perspective that I can offer to engage with these markets? And it's ultimately the antithesis of what most people do. Most people are chasing. Because I guarantee so many folks that are listening right now, there's 102 people listening right now, and they're like, oh, what do I buy? What do I buy? Oh no, it's going down. What do I sell? Oh, it's going up. I gotta buy some of that. And that mentality is so unhealthy. It'll drive you nuts. So, what is a statement I can make in that regard? Obviously, I say you want to buy discounts, and that involves looking at the price. How does a person engage with these markets to detach themselves from price and focus on PA fundamentals, fintech evaluation, what would be considered like a value investment evaluation if it was equities? What is the health of the business? What is the health of the market? And those are much more important data points than price action. The in the context of the way I look at capital management, the only valuable piece of information from price action is it cheap enough in the scope of X, Y, and Z. How much does it cost? How much is it paying? And how likely is it to continue to pay? That's the beauty of XYZ. Has nothing to do necessarily with, oh, it's going to the moon. You want to buy fundamentally driven businesses that have a product, a service that generate revenue. And that's where you get your revenue from. They've always said, folks have always said, if you don't know where the yield's coming from, you're the yield. Okay, great. 100% of everything that we own, according to my methodology, we know exactly where the damn yield's coming from. And ultimately, just to be very clear, that yield is coming from other people taking risk. And that is a meaningful product because ultimately other people won't listen to my message, never hear the thoughts that come out of my mouth, and they will engage in risky activities. It's just what they're going to do. So that's exactly what dollar liabilities are. How do you think you gain leverage? How do you think you get a mortgage? How do you lease a car, finance a car? How do you have a credit card? This is all liabilities, all of it. There, when you talk about all those things, a couple folks on Discord are trying to interpret a lot of the things I've taught over the years in ways that mom and pop, grandma and grandpa could understand. So, so how do you describe the businesses we own? Let's talk one, CRVUSD. Let's talk. It could be any of them. It could be MIM for all I care. It could be any of the collateralized debt positions, the liability printers. That is literally what a credit card is. That's literally what a mortgage is. That's literally what a finance or lease is. That is what a home equity line of credit is. Fundamentally, that's a liability arrangement. It's the biggest business on the planet. So, the whole overarching thought was, how do you describe this place, this crypto space filled with shallow, meaningless takes on what is occurring? And you define it in a way that makes sense. So we talked about price in terms of XYZ. We talked about actual business, actual products and services. That makes sense. So what does that mean for how we may have emotionally felt over the weekend? The number one rule is emotions have no business in these markets. There's no room for them. There's no room for sentiment. Yes, you can be a gambler, but that is not my story. That is not my guidance. That is not how I could help because I choose to have little anxiety. I choose to sleep at night. I choose to be well rounded and calm and not frantic and not FOMO to the moon. Oh, I made 100 grand in 2021 and I gave it all back and I got 5 grand and it was like coin-fessions and shit. And I got 5 grand. I'm determined to make it all back. Down 99%, but I'm gonna make it all back. Leverage trading shitcoin. Anyway, breathing, trying to breathe. That's where I get frustrated. That's where my emotions come out because it's mostly what I see, not what I am, but I see other people that are taking themselves down and that's not it makes me sad. It makes me sad as someone that wants to be an educator, that wants to offer a different perspective and show people that you can be sane. You don't have to be insane. You don't have to be crazy. You don't have to, dare I talk about biblical things. You don't have to covet thy neighbor's goods. You don't have to wish, oh, how do I get more money? How do I get that Lambo? No, there is better ways. And it doesn't mean it's going to be incredibly profitable in a short period of time, but it will be rational. It will be sustainable. And you won't have anxiety and you can sleep at night. I had my mother-in-law buy Bitcoin. What did she get? She got in like early 21. It was like 25. I think she got like 25 grand. That's less than a Bitcoin, but that's a lot for someone in their upper 60s. And she looks at it now and it's up. It's not life changing. And she doesn't dollar cost average because it's just not something I could teach her. But she did listen enough to acquire some, and that's interesting. So I feel great satisfaction when that occurs. So there's always a rational plan of action, which is exactly why I felt motivated to do the one-on-ones again and fold it into ARAD and Agent Rational. Because you have to respect the size of your portfolio, how much capital you have, how much revenue you make, what your age is. What your age is everything. If you're 18 years old and you're working at Best Buy, maybe if you're lucky enough, you're on Geek Squad and you're making 40, 50 grand a year. Oh my God. People shove shit into their 401ks. Just dollar cost average Bitcoin. And there's a simple explanation for why. Because Bitcoin is not equities. It's not anything related to the stock market. I mean, obviously, if you're dollar cost averaging a Bitcoin ETF, that gets a little fuzzy. But if you're dollar cost averaging into a 401k or funneling into a 401k with whatever, 3% match, great. It's into the same bullshit that everyone else is, which is basically the Magnificent Seven. And where's that going to go? It's going to go up 100% from here. It's good for in what 10 years. Uh, it's the same story. It's literally everyone cramming into the same bullshit over and over again. As much as everyone thinks Bitcoin is, on everyone's mind, it's still not understood by the vast majority and not even considered, not thought about. It's off the radar of the vast majority. So this comes back to like a Bitcoin centric conversation for like an entry level portfolio. I'm talking in terms of an 18-year-old. It's not Coinbase and have a Coinbase account. Grab a damn Ledger device, pick a Grid Plus, pick a hardware wallet, whatever. If you buy Bitcoin, if you're getting $1,000 a week because you're 18 years old, you graduated high school, what kind of bills do you have? Work out a deal with your parents. Stay at home. Don't leave your fucking home. Rent is stupid. You move out when it makes sense financially. And if you're making $1,000 a week, if you have balls, put 500 of it into accumulating capital. Who gives a shit if the price goes up or down? What matters is you have more assets because that's the rule. More assets, own more assets, buy more assets. And if you can't get to where you want to get to in equities, because that makes no fucking sense, it's an old story. It's boomer meme coins, boomer meme coins. You're not going to do it with real estate. You're not going to do it with real estate. What else is there? There's nothing else. You can't do it in a savings account. You're not going to do it with bonds. That is decimated. So you do it with crypto, but not crypto. You do it with Bitcoin until you start to really dive in to the conversations that we have about fintech and businesses, and that requires an entire education. So for an entry level portfolio, 18 years old, stay the fuck at home. For the love of God, if you're destined to party and do all that shit, and when I say this, I'm talking in terms of cousins that are like in their 20s, and I wish to God they would listen to me better. It's $100, $50, zero, not zero, not zero, more than zero. Why? Because you're buying more assets over time. The most important thing is to understand what you're buying, at least have a fundamental education in terms of what I define as dinner table investing. And that story is going to get better over time. You need to be able to sit down at a dinner table with friends and family and not have a stupid conversation about Trump coin or fart coin or any meme coin, because there's no way, shape, or form you're going to be able to have a conversation and other people are not going to look at you like you're an idiot. And I'm not talking about other people that know of the existence of these coins. I'm talking about middle-aged folks, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years old. They're going to look at you like you're a stupid kid. But if you talk about Bitcoin and you talk some critical attributes, but you put them in the context of equities and retirement funds and money, and then you have to understand the dollar and how the governments work, how the Federal Reserve works, then at least you're having a decent dinner table conversation. Then it's rational. Well, you graduate from high school, you're 18, and your grandpa's like, "What are you doing with your life, son?" Well, this is what I'm doing. I have a plan. I've arranged with mom and dad that I'm going to stay at home. Okay, what are you doing? I have a job. I'm making 45 grand a year working at Best Buy. Okay, what are you doing with that money, son? Okay, I'm taking 1/4 of my money and I'm buying assets. I'm accumulating assets. I told mom and dad I could stay here, and they said, if you're going to stay here, you're going to buy assets. There's a reason 99% of the wealthiest people have, or rather 1% of the wealthiest people have 99% of the assets. It's staring everyone right in the face. It's just buy assets, buy assets. So now what you do is exactly what we do in the crypto space. We look for a reason not to buy shit. So for an entry level person, an 18-year-old, real estate doesn't work, equities don't work, none of that shit works. Okay, so that's why you've come into this new area. So then you have to explain to an 80-year-old, oh, son, Bitcoin, isn't that risky? Well, then you explain, well, this is the first one, and I'm not touching the crazy shit. Obviously, you say this in a parentally colloquial manner. And I'm accumulating assets. They'll understand the word assets. They'll understand money. Talk in terms of gold. Tell the story of gold being banned. Tell the story of the Federal Reserve and how they print dollars and debase the currency. Go full Bitcoin maximalist story if you have to. That all sounds quite reasonable. And that's how I would talk to a younger cousin of mine. And you bet your bottom dollar, you should bet your bottom dollar, that's how I will talk to my children. My children will, they're not, I told my kids, they are not allowed to move out of the house until they are 30 fucking years old. Because mathematically, the math, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't fucking work if you move out of your goddamn house and you're taking on $2,500 a month rent. It doesn't fucking work. Obviously a horrible thing is I say all this shit from hindsight as a 40-plus-year-old, but it breaks my heart to see so many people just get it so goddamn wrong. And and the greatest reality is that I can never tell myself. I remember myself in my 20s. I could have never told this story to myself in my 20s. How do you reach kids and make a difference? I don't know. That's something I think about a lot, especially being a parent, especially having done what I've done for all these years. I built a reputation and a brand around the Captain Rational. It's probably one of the most meaningful things I've done in my life. There's something that's so honorable about rationality because, folks get caught up. I'm just rambling at this point, but maybe a couple of final thoughts and then we'll do commentary. So many folks get caught up in the bullshit of humanity. It's horrible when folks talk about different people, different color, different ethnicity and religion, wealth. Oh, you're poor, you're rich. There's one thing that brings everyone together, and yeah, sure, you could say mathematics is the universal language, but the one fucking thing that brings everyone together is rationality. I don't give a crap where you are, who you are, what your color is, what your religion is. I find everything interesting because that's all it is. It's just opinion. in conversation. And as long as that conversation is rooted in rationality, humanity moves forward. People get along. There's no violence. There's agreements and organization and coordination and people helping each other. And this is just, it doesn't exist out there. So maybe I get disheartened sometimes sometimes like right now, when I'm speaking emotionally, I get disheartened because it's not there. I love this community. I love my community. There's 266 human beings listening. That's a small population. I tell myself motivational things when I talk to my wife. I'm like, honey, can you imagine what 266 people look like in an auditorium? It's like, and honestly, that's pretty damn cool. Yeah, but look at all the people that attend like football games, 100,000, or concerts, 100,000. So we're a small community. So I'm happy and humbled, yet equally disappointed. I wish I wish people could be more rational and find peace, find comfort, find their inner calm, because that's a beautiful thing. If you're on X or on YouTube, please feel welcome to throw your comments. I am more than happy to talk about anything on your mind. A lot of stuff has occurred over the weekend. Not just price action, you know. I did this Arad thing, but it's a disaster from a price action standpoint. Frankly, it's bottomed out to a degree, maybe. I don't freaking know. It's literally at 145,000 market cap. You know what happens when you look at 145,000 market cap? You're like, what the fuck is that? So I don't know, but maybe that's the whole point. Maybe, maybe according to my methodology, it's irrelevant what the market cap is, and the point of it is to you want to do a one-on-one with me. You want to talk to me, and you want me to help you find peace and calm, and think rationally about what to do. And you, and from a perspective of a parent, you pay me with Arad. Well, it's really burning it. You're going to burn it. So I'm not even getting paid. I don't get paid for these streams. I don't have any advertisement on YouTube. I don't get paid anything for these streams. There's 800 plus streams that are an hour plus long. That is a lot. This has been a hell of a road, hell of a journey. Thank you all. I say that broadly because a lot of folks over the years aren't listening right now, but I do what I do because folks have taken an interest in this type of conversation. They want to mature and grow and be different. So many folks want to be the same. That's why Instagram's so popular. Oh, what's she wearing? Oh, what's the new style? I don't give a shit what the new style is. I don't care what's popular with other people. I'm going to be me. I'm going to do me. And it's going to be reasonable. Because reasonableness is part of the conversation of rationality, but there's nuances to consider. So much, so much reasonableness is lacking. Reasonable expectations. That's literally what Trump coin was. Everyone had insane, completely insane expectations. And when you fail at meeting your expectations, you know what happens? You get emotionally distraught because it's a failure. So don't set unreasonable expectations. Set reasonable expectations. It's the same thing. Like if you're in software, which I am as a career, under promise, over deliver. Do it to yourself. If you're like, what's a reasonable, what's reasonable? 10x over a 10-year time period. Okay, I would say that's reasonable. So 100 grand turns into $1 million in 10 years. Okay, that's quite reasonable. In a crypto sense and a diversified portfolio, the odds are you're going to do better than that. But if you set the reasonable expectation and you do better, then you win and you feel victorious. You feel like you did something right because you did better than you thought you would. But if you're sitting there naive and just your head's in the clouds dreaming of Lamborghinis and you're like, I'm going to turn 100K into 100 mil, and you don't get there, you're going to feel pretty bad. You're going to feel like a failure. And you're going to take excessive risk, which means you may not even have the 100 grand anymore. So reasonable expectations, something hard to do because that means you have to sacrifice a certain tendency of humanity to covet thy neighbor's goods. That's why like the Ten Commandments and these biblical concepts are so core, these core things of humanity. A lot of religious concepts around the world have good ideas. No one specific religion. Always just appreciate knowledge, appreciate people, appreciate ideas. For the love of God, get along with people and be reasonable and rational. Anyway, I will stop monologuing, throw some commentary so we can have some fun. Fugu's in the house. Good morning, Fractoshi. Good morning. Good morning, Joshua. I do not think meme coins are useless. Wonderful place to spend time. Yeah, but that has nothing to do with the coin itself. A community built around a coin doesn't mean much. The community is unto itself. People talking, people communicating. But if the people are each encouraging each other to spend capital, that's not a substantive community. That's a shilling community. That's a community of people that are ultimately going to PvP the shit out of each other. Because at some point, someone wants to capitalize, someone needs to capitalize. And therefore, the same rules apply of humanity. Once it starts to go down, it keeps going down. Momentum continues until capitulation. That's what a blow off top is. That's what a blow off bottom is. Man, that dude yesterday said, there was a big executive is like, oh, it was rolling over. I sold. What would anyone do? Okay, that's what happens. So you can have a community of folks like, don't sell, don't sell. Be strong together. Diamond hands. When it comes time that the price starts rolling over, all of that goes out the window. It's just basic human psychology. So it can be a great place to spend time, but that has nothing to do with the price action of an asset. Okay. So it's a share ideas, great. That's exactly what I talk about, but that has nothing to do with the price action of an asset. Price action of an asset. Your second question is great. Price action alone is a manifestation of either degeneracy, where it's deviation from the mean. The average price, that's your sanity. Let's talk from a Bitcoin context. You want to get your average price, go out to the monthly chart and look at the moving averages. From a monthly chart perspective, you have a 100 SMA in the green. You got a 10 SMA. If I turn off the guppies, you could see it. 10 SMA in the dark green, and the lighter green, thicker, is the 50. These are your moving averages. These are reasonable prices over long time frames. When you deviate from the mean to the upside, you're in an irrational period of time. And that's exactly what, by classical definition of mean regression, is when things return to the average. If you want a better perspective, yeah, all right, the daily, the 200 SMA. So folks saw, so this is a perfect example. Take March of 2020. Frankly, if we look at S&P 500, it's even crazier, which we may actually look at after this. But look at this. People in March of 2020, Bitcoin's crashing. It's crashing. Price action alone, we're talking about here, is crashing. Where did it stop crashing? Let me zoom in further so you guys could really see it. Where did that stop crashing? That's a 200 SMA right there. And over a 2-month period, it went back up. That's a mean regression because price action alone, people sell when it goes down and they buy when it goes up. And obviously that's not what the smart money does. The smart money buys at the bottom and sells at the top, which means the few are the smart money. There's very few smart money. unless they make a market, but that's another story. So the point is, anytime you're above a significant long-term moving average, you have the potential for a mean regression. Let's look at NASDAQ. So when we topped in 2021, straight to the 200 SMA, mean regression, mean regression back in March of 2020. I mean, this is insane, by the way. Oh, the stock market's crashing. COVID's hitting. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's like to the candle tick. It was a mean regression. So this is price action. This is how you inspect from a trading perspective. But a trading perspective is the complete antithesis of everything I introduced as we started this stream. That's trading. There's no place here for a trading conversation. There's a place here where you go to sleep at night and you're not thinking about your bags. You're not thinking about the price action. You could sleep at night because you don't have long positions and short positions. You own more assets. And this is where I would link back to the beginning of the stream for the opening monologue. It's just a very different conversation. Price alone doesn't mean much. What matters is owning more assets over time at a good price, fitting into a structured capital management philosophy, focusing around hopefully cash flow, because it's not about assets. The asset gives you exposure to a business, a real business that has products and services that has real revenue. And that revenue gives you money. You get paid. And that's like buy a salary type concept, which we've talked about for many years at this point. How much does it cost to buy $100 a week income? Ask your parents that one. They'll be like, what the fuck is this kid smoking? How much does it cost to buy $100 a week worth of income? All right, that's a whole conversation. You have to talk about the types of businesses. You have to talk about, can you get a good discount or is the price too expensive? That's the case with real estate. It's too expensive. You know how much $100 a week income costs in real estate? Yeah, how much $100 a week income costs in Coca-Cola or Realty Income Corporation? Or pick your favorite REIT, relatively high paying REIT. How much does it cost for that kind of income? It's a large number, and that's a different story in crypto terms. But that's not part of where I started the conversation earlier. I was talking about 18-year-olds and how to start thinking about this stuff. That's a more sophisticated story about crypto fintech and crypto dividend investing and owning owning something that's meaningful, something that pays you a salary. Because when you retire and you're 80 years old, you don't want to work. You don't want to be sitting trading. Who the fuck wants to be sitting trading? You just want to, in dividends land, they just give it to you. It goes right into your bank account. But in crypto land, the status quo is you click a claim button. When I'm 80, I want to click a claim button once a week. Click, cash, dinner, supermarket. Okay. So I live my life now how I want to live my life in the future. And the whole system around me will catch up because other people are going to want that as well. That's my 2 cents. I hope that helps, Joshua. That's obviously bridges the concept of trading and price action and community and mean regressions. I hope that is a decent story. Anywho, Bugatti, the guy who would make, the guy who will make me a millionaire. Hey, Bugatti, you're from Asian Rational community. Whatever community. Nobody talks in there. It's all brand new. It's created over the weekend. Well, I don't know why I'm thinking about it in such a short-term time horizon. Agent Rational is doing its thing. No commentary in quite some time. I have to set up our own private API key. That'll make a difference. Yeah, I love this stuff. This stuff's great. It's cute. I use ChatGPT a lot. The pro version is so much better than the free version, and this reeks of free version. Well, not free version, but like the $20 a month version. But it's interesting how you could train it. So there's a huge amount of data sets. These conversations, after I get done with the stream, I'm going to process it and I'm going to upload it to Agent Rational. The use of stablecoins like USDT Zero, which is the new cross-chain, omni-chain fungible version of Tether, which is crazy. CRV-USD and money in DeFi lending protocols can help mitigate risk associated with market volatility. Yeah, stablecoins. By understanding the role of these stablecoins, investors can make more informed decisions about involvement in the DeFi space. This is a freaking brilliant statement because what is a stablecoin? What is a liability? How are dollars created? What does the Federal Reserve do? What actually is quantitative easing? Because it certainly isn't what folks talk about on social media. We've talked about these concepts. Stablecoins are no different than a dollar deposit in a bank account. It's a liability. There's two things in this world, assets and liabilities. Okay? Stablecoins are liabilities. Not really USDC. USDC is like it's different. It's because it's not a CDP. USDC is a fungible bank deposit. USDC is unique in some regards. It's a redeemable stablecoin for actual dollars that are actually deposited in a banking institution. It's like it's not a liability. It's a bank liability. It's a fungible portable bank liability. It's a representation of a bank liability. That's fascinating. Ultimately, I guess it is a liability. But it's not a liability unto itself, because when you're talking about Tether, you're talking about CRVUSD or money or Allah. Those are actual liabilities. Somebody posted collateral to create that liability. So anyway, hope that helps, Bugatti. I hope many things, and I would like to see, like here's my interface, and I'm able to program a lot of things, and I have a lot of data in here, the data sets, and I'll post more. Nice descriptions. Obviously, it's me. That's the whole point of this, to try. That's how I configured it, to try and create me, and we'll see. Interesting user interface. As for the price action of the token, what am I supposed to do? Whole market is degeneracy incarnate. Let's go back here. Let's go back to Bitcoin. We could have Bitcoin up on a monthly while we talk. If you're on X or YouTube, feel welcome to ask any questions. I'm more than happy to talk about anything. Teddy, good morning, Cap. What a pleasure on this fine day. What concerns do you think we should have? Well, what does it do? It does nothing. It's going to cause ripple effects, and you see the social media commentary of its price action. It causes it's a manifestation of capital distortion. Ultimately, it's a manifestation of malinvestment and excess capital in the system, because historically, a long, long time ago in a galaxy far away at this point, investing was for productive enterprise. A businessman wants to start a business. An entrepreneur wants to do something different, has an idea, and they're going to build something. So that's what credit was. But now there's so much money in the system that people buy Trump coin. That's just real. Is it possible for anybody on Earth, CCP, DP, to direct fund to buy his coin anonymously? Of course. We've had plenty of scandals, Binance and North Korea and stuff like that. There's plenty of big news headlines that could cause significant social media ripples. Plenty. Frankly, with regard to a Trump meme coin, and everything you said is the case, no limitations. Nothing's off the table. The system, I say it all the time, is ready to implode all the time, which requires a narrative, a rational narrative, to cut through the bullshit. So just because the system's ready to implode doesn't mean you stop accumulating assets. The question is, What assets and at what prices, and what is the characteristics of the assets that you're accumulating. And that's where the concept of cash flow comes up. Blue Demon, good morning. Sir Joe, President accounted for. Enter the Brainatorium, Noah. Thanks, Noah. Love the rumination. Yes. I vent to you guys and gals. I, I just, my wife tells me very clearly I do not have a filter. And I don't know, I like to think that that's healthy. It allows me to express myself and I don't bottle anything up. It's much easier that way. You're doing great work with all the degen peer pressure madness going on right now. I hope so. I know a lot of folks over the years since 2020 and 2021 have appreciated these stories and have maybe done better than worse, have made money instead of lost money, have slept at night at least, have good stories to tell, are still here because there's nothing else. If you're just working and putting money in a bank account, it is mathematically impossible to meet expectations. There's no retirement. Making If you move out of your house at 18 and you're making 50 grand a year and you're paying 2,500 a month rent, there is no house. There is no home. There is no freedom because if you get a home, you got a mortgage. So now you're in debt for 40 years or whatever the hell the term is nowadays. So there has to be someone to tell a different story about how, it's kind of like when you're graduating high school, you have a certain perspective on the world. I'm trying to think back and tell a story from how I used to think about things when I was younger. And tells you, no one can tell you what the world's like when you're 18. College can't tell you. You in college with peers, professors. Oh, what is this? Look at this professor thinks he knows everything. Life's a journey of realizing things. And the shame of life is like when you're 80, 90, 100 years old and you're ready to die. That's why you have so many, you flashback for your whole life. You're like, oh, it's a good life, or I could have done things better. You realize how short it is. Everyone every day has an opportunity to do a little bit better, to think a little bit different, to try different things, to be a little bit more reasonable. Anywho, Snog, Mr. Captain, much a pleasure, much a pleasure. Raul, hello. No, I cannot check I don't know what a DTF is. No, the captain is not down to fuck. Okay, no DTF here. What is that from Bad Boys 2? The devil is not welcome here. No, I'm not. No DTF. How do you see this year's broken down into quarters? Okay, this is a good question. How do you see the future in Europe? Oh, goodness gracious. How do you have any? Okay, so Europe, Peter's eye hand. No one understands geopolitics or tells a story better than he does. Folks will be very critical. I'm sure there's academics that are very critical of him, but he's there and he's telling stories, and his stories are quite compelling and they appear informative. So Peter Zihan, YouTube, social media, if you want to understand what the hell is going on outside of this country in the United States. And what I talk about is probably from his context when I watch his content. Right now, the whole planet is FOMOing into the United States because that's what happens when there's a strong dollar. It's a very simple mechanic. When the dollar goes up, money flows into the United States. That's why equities are like where they are. If the dollar rolls over, what do you think equities are going to do? They roll over, and they roll over hard. So that's where we're at. I love this chart. This is the dollar DXY on the monthly. If you go to the weekly, it's even better. You know why? Guppies. We get to see the guppies. Red guppies. Everyone loves a bull market in the crypto space, and there's your last two bull markets dating from 2016. for all you youngsters just getting involved in the crypto space post 2020 or maybe even 2020, 2024, there's your bull markets. You know what we've had since 2022? No bull market because there's no red guppies. I don't care what people think about 2024, Cosmos Hub airdrop season, Solana shitcoin season. Doesn't matter. Base is hot. Airdrom's fire. There has been no bull market whatsoever. Because when it's a bull market and those guppies turn red, it doesn't matter what you own. And that's why it's so important to be prepared. When that occurs, to have something structured, something sustainable, something that's reasonable. No bull market until there are red guppies on the DXY weekly. Period. Future of Europe is bleak. Future of China, it's in an economic collapse. It's literally 2008 over there. You wouldn't know it because of the stimulus. They got 4% growth amidst a complete collapse of their real estate sector. I mean, a complete collapse, like worse than the United States in 2008. Oh my God. Like their economy is collapsing. If you don't want to believe me, just look at the chart. This is China. This is an economic collapse. Risk off. There's no investment. Everyone over there is just, that's it. It's just one game in town. Now, this is what a collapse looks like. When did we see a collapse? We saw a collapse in the United States in 2020. Didn't cause much of a collapse with the power of the dollar and the printer. Printer is coming because, as I showed you back in 2020, that was literally just a mean regression to the 200 SMA. Fun fact, fun fact, fun fact. Do you have any new thoughts on current progress of artificial intelligence? What about quantum computing? There's a lot of things coming. Quantum computing is enthralling. Artificial intelligence changes everything. It's changing everything right now. I could do things that I could never do years ago. I learned how to program from Google and Stack Overflow. It probably took me years to get decent, 2, 3 years to get decent at software engineering. If I had what I have now, a fraction of the time. It's insane what ChatGPT facilitates, especially the pro version. Good thoughts, dude. Good thoughts. Snark, you're very welcome. Much a pleasure, my friend. Simon is in the house. Simon, ladies and gentlemen, is a great old friend. Simon and I have known each other for a long time, and we do not talk nearly enough because life is absolutely insane, and there's not enough time in the day. But if you're ever interested in Flutter, there is literally no other smarter person I could possibly think of. Love you, Simon. I need to ping you. Meanwhile, I got my kids outside. It's dinner time. If I don't get off the stream soon, my wife's gonna kill me. And then, I mean, dude, I did so much work. I've themed an entire app, and it's got four customizable themes, and it's all dynamic. I'm exhausted today from software, doing the stream, doing my social media. By the time I get my kids to sleep, I'm done. I'm shot. You know what I have to say about that, Simon? We had much more fun back in 2012. I had no kids. All I did was get home from work and go to the gym, and oh, what a different life that was. It's strange getting older. Very, very strange. Anywho, catch you soon. Adam. Hey, Cap. Would love to hear you speak experience with virtual as game. Do you see the model as a viable approach to AI crypto? Yes, but from a development standpoint, I'm not using it from a development standpoint because you could plug in additional layers. So I think it is useful and can do a lot of things. I'm not really seeing a lot of the tech, like with Symphony. Okay, maybe it's a bit of a not too fond of the personality of the agent. But I guess they're doing some decent tech. They're integrating, cross-chain bridges into, uh, you know, a human contextually aware conversation. Maybe, I don't know. I think it's just a stretch, and it plays into just weird attempts to define value for these meme coins and tokens. The greatest irony is ARAT is probably the most logical and reasonable use case for a token, a payment system, actual payment system. It's the use case. If you want to talk to me, pay an ARAT and burn it. So I don't know what the use case is for meme coins. Meme coins aren't a community. That's not how it works. The community is a community unto itself. If all the community is doing is figuring out how to get people to spend capital to pump the price of a token, that's not a community. That's a coordinated effort to show a token. Oh dear. Community broadly could be described in terms of people talking about a shared idea, but if it's a shared idea of getting rich, that's not how one, that's not a healthy community, and two, that's not how price action of a market cap works. If and that's exactly why Trump dropped $40 billion in a in the dip. Because if you have an $80 billion meme coin and there's $500 million worth of liquidity, if 100% sell all of their coins, the total amount of money of that $80 billion market cap meme coin that you could get out, the total amount of money that comes out is $500 million. You understand? Liquidity is everything. If there's only $500,000 in that LP, you could only get $500 million. You can only get $500 million out. I don't give a shit what the market cap is. Market cap means nothing. It's all about liquidity, ladies and gentlemen. So, anywho, try my best to explain that and me what I'm playing around with. Do you see the model as a viable approach to AI crypto? Who pays for the API costs? I think Virtuals does. How does that link to the token? Uh, doesn't really link to the token. It's a revenue stream for the developer. For instance, transaction fees on tokens come to the developer. So that allows for reinvestment. So that's useful. That's interesting. So that's a nice design. But how do you give a token meaning? How do you make it significant? What is the value in a token? Now I sure as hell know the value in a token if it pays me. If you could click a button because you own tokens and it pays you $100 per week, there's something meaningful there, like really structurally meaningful. But if there's no value, if there's no purpose, if it's just price, price, oh, meme coin go up in price. There's nothing there. It's not as vapor. So fortunately, and unfortunately, I have a purpose for Arat. I have a purpose for Agent Rational. I built it with a purpose. And it makes sense. But its valuation right now has nothing to do with people actually looking at purpose. Now, a lot of the meme coin community doesn't give a shit about purpose. They just care about catching a pump. So that is what it is. So that's malinvestment. Why? Because investment is supposed to be in something with meaning, something with a story, something that's dinner table investing, something that's actually significant. I literally have a significant use case for the damn token. I make no revenue off the one-on-ones. Nothing. I literally am just asking folks to burn it. You burn it, you get to talk to me. Huh, that makes sense. So that's the best use case of any goddamn virtuals there is. That's separate apart from the agent. Agent's another story. Agents are a separate conversation. You could give value to an agent, but that's not like you can't buy the agent. The token isn't buying the agent. The token is loosely coupled to the agent, just conceptually coupled. It's not like it's a manifestation of the agent. I guess the agent can do work and buy the token, buy back and burn. I don't know. I mean, that's interesting to a degree. What kind of work could an agent do? I don't think it's that intelligent currently. I mean, at some point, I guess it could trade and they use the trading profits to buy back its token and burn it, or just use the trading profits and distribute the profits to the token holders. All right, that could be interesting. I don't think we're there yet. No one's doing that. That's it. That's my 2 cents on the topic. I like this guy. This guy's cool, and I'll continue to add more data to him, and I'll continue to retweet him. Hopefully, he comes up with good stuff. Like, folks, look, this was like a tweet thread, a tweet war back and forth, and that was pretty cool to watch two agents go at it back and forth for quite some time. I have it capped at 510. I think no, here. I think I have it capped at 20. So obviously, if the tweet thread gets past 20, it shuts up. But that's pretty interesting because these are two agents going back and forth. Here's another two. That's pretty cool. So they went at it for a bit. I like this. Let's explore the connection between DeFi lending and traditional finance. It's everything I just talked about on the stream. How can stablecoins and decentralized lending protocols bridge the gap between conventional banking systems and DeFi space? Well, it's actually pretty good. That's actually really good. Lending protocols, literally real world business, and conventional banking. Well, conventional banking sucks because to get a mortgage, you got to put it, what, 20%? Obviously, you get an FHA, you're down to what, 2%? You got to put a down deposit and you got to go through an approval process, underwriting process, background check process, income source process. Is your bank account healthy? Do you have any outstanding debt? You got to go through a credit check. Traditional banking sucks. So bridge the gap between with DeFi. Oh my God, DeFi makes it's permissionless. It's the whole DeFi conversation. So the whole point is there's some really good thoughts that it comes up with. I like it. Plus, this is a nice header, and it feels like I created a personality. And I imbued it with stuff like my personality: approachable, friendly, data driven. Well, this is more of its personality. And then description here. Threads delve into the mechanics of protocol revenue models, collateral ratios, tokenomics, leverage on-chain data, real-world metrics, avoids hype, grounding is analysis and concrete evidence and track records. And then you get to go down here in enrichment and really do some more. So you talk about particular protocols. You could give Twitter ats, so you could have some context. And it searches the internet, so it task reasoning and task, which basically means it comes from here, which has retrieved knowledge, which comes from the data sets, which is a huge amount of data sets. Everything we talk about in the stream, world info is basically an internet search. And here's your two descriptions: Twitter goal, description. So basically, all this gets processed in the context of the personality as well as the data set. So it's pretty good. Pretty good. Anywho, good stuff, Adam. Bugatti, people will talk there in due time. That'd be nice. It's not going anywhere. It's only been the weekend, so it'll be there. And I'll work on it. It's fun. Hannah, good evening. Hope everything's well. Catch you later tonight. Obviously, we have a one-on-one session. I appreciate you. Thank you, Noah. Love your stated values, message, and delivering. That's why I'm trying to learn from you. I've wanted to have that one-on-one with you, and I'm excited that you created a way. Look forward to it as well. There is always a path. Folks get stuck in they don't know a way forward. But that's what I like to see. There's always a path, always something to do, always a choice to be made. What's important is the context, considerations, and the information to make reasonable decisions. So we take all of that into context, and that's what I would expect the conversations to be like. Um, a constructive conversation can come to conclusions, can come to actionable tasks, maybe. But the whole point is very similar to what we do here. It's a conversation about real life, real people, and things that are important to real people. Not degeneracy, not gambling, being reasonable, being human. So thank you. I appreciate you as well. Joshua, great summary. Thank you. I only mention APU as I've seen higher volatility with the community getting strong. Of course, there's higher volatility. There's more people shilling, socializing, shilling, regardless of price action. That's it. It's a growing community. Why? Because people are shilling for new people to come into the community, and they're buying. And it goes up in price. Oh, up in price. I'm not mocking. I'm just having fun, Joshua. Please don't be insulted by that take. That is just my general impression of price action. It means nothing. I've watched shit fall 80% and I have completely retained my opinion. I watched current finance go to 20 cents and I'm like, CRV still functions. There's $1 billion+ in deposits. There's revenue. There's cash flow. There's users. Price only goes so far. Anyhow, I'm an optimist about the future of crypto, including ARAD. I like I own none of it. I don't need to. I don't want to. Burn, 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 burn. Anything I get my hands on, I'm going to burn. It's for the people. If you want to talk to me one on one, ARAD. If you want to buy it, speculating on price, cool. I'm going to keep. Maybe I'll do a TWAP again. Maybe I'll burn some if I have any extra capital. That's how I could support the community. That's all I could do. Anyhow, thank you, Bugatti. I appreciate the support. The advisor, good morning. Much a pleasure, my friend. I hope all is well. Snoke in the house. Simon, my friend, love you, dude. I know. So, right, ChatGPT. Dude, I've been using the pro version. Dude, it's crazy. I've written the most insane legal documents with the pro version, and it's not, you still, you have to be intelligent to it's not like, hey, ChatGPT Pro version, please write this document. It's you're building a document and you're building sections and subsections and structure to the document. So you're refining components better and better and better and better over time. So you still need your human intelligence significantly. But I could say, in my opinion, that man, that pro version's insane. Like all the shit that like O1 gets wrong or just it gets lost. It doesn't remember its contextual conversation. The pro version is like it knows exactly what it's talking about. It knows where it is, what it's doing. It answers the crap out of the question. It has a degree of contextual awareness that makes the $20 a month version seem um, relatively shallow. Quite extraordinary. I could only imagine where the hell we're heading. It's only 2025. Not AGI. It's going to be literally having a conversation with someone smarter than a human. Crazy. Can you make 27 million 5 years? No, 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 no. Yeah, I mean anything's possible, but is that reasonable? Reasonable? You don't need. I'm telling you right now. Telling you right now, you don't need that kind of money. I mean, listen. If you can make, that's why I don't even think in terms of net worth. That's net worth. Who cares about net worth? Let's say you make $100,000 a year as a salary. How would it make you feel if you could make $100,000 a year by income by not working? Not by not working, but in it, you're working for your salary, but you own assets and you're also making 100 grand. So you've replaced your work salary. See, that's meaningful because you bust your ass for your paycheck. but you decided to accumulate assets that pay you a salary, and you've gotten to the point where it makes the same amount of money as all that time you spent busting your ass. So there's great meaning to that, because it's not going to remain 100 grand, because the whole economy is going to inflate, and that 100 grand becomes 150, becomes 200, becomes 300, becomes 500, and it grows faster than the inflation rate. Working doesn't do that, but assets do that. So that's the exciting thing about cash flow. Net worth means nothing. Buffett doesn't give a shit if he loses 20 billion over a weekend because of a flash crash. He doesn't give a shit. He doesn't think about it for 2 seconds. And it's not because he has more billions. It's because it means nothing. The number means nothing. What matters is the cash flow. What matters is on Friday, how much revenue did the businesses make? Because the net worth is in the businesses. You're not selling your business to buy something else. You use the cash flow to buy other things. Cash flow is everything. Cash flow is a more sophisticated way to engage markets. Oh man, life was simple. God bless you. You hear the exhaustion in my voice when I say that. God bless. Yes, that is indeed the case with so much in the crypto space. Happy Monday, Captain Brian Morrison. Much a pleasure. Hope all is well. Thomas, I made friends with Agent Rational and a bunch of bots last night. They've been collaborating on my page all night. People should learn to work better together like the bots. So the bots are permissionless, meaning they're just going to engage, or unrestricted. Boom, 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 boom. And they're conversational. They're uh, 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 oh my God, word is slipping my mind. They get together reasonably, something like that. Oh my God, genial? No. Anyway, whatever. So I quite enjoyed that back and forth to see that. I showed that a little bit earlier on the stream. Joshua, I'm smiling along with you. My thought process is the right capital gains in the DeFi. So that is a consideration. So folks take risks in many ways, and that's part of the equation. And everyone's an adult. Everyone gets to say, "Oh, I want to gamble. I want to take a risk." So that is a very common path. Well said, Joshua. And that's what a lot of people do. They're like, "Oh, I'm going to try and make money because work doesn't pay enough. I'm going to try and gamble and trade to have a nice amount of capital such that I could buy cash flow, as you say, in DeFi projects." Okay, it makes sense, but understand you don't have an expectation of certainty. I know a lot of successful traders. They're few, and they're fucking predators. I mean, they're ferocious. I've never met anyone like these people. Impressive, a little scary. Um, but most people lose trading. The majority lose everything. So statistically speaking, it's not reasonable for most people to think they could trade to build a stack of capital so they could then relax with cash flow. I'm just speaking reasonably, and I am no crystal ball about what potential outcome your experiences will be. Just saying. So those are the considerations. What are the odds? What are the statistics? So like the statistics on Pump That Fun is what I retweeted that several times. Like 99.5% of people have basically lost everything or something like that. Anyhow. Also, Claude, ChatGPT feels like a superpower at the moment. It's wild, 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 wild. I can only imagine what's coming. Anywho, we talk a lot about AI on Discord, and we have a lot of legal documents and stuff, and it's very interesting conversations we have on Discord with the work that ChatGPT is capable of. Bugatti passive income, it's a different mentality. It requires a sacrifice of one's expectations, not in a bad way, in a more reasonable way to be sustainable and healthy. Ladies and gentlemen, Monday, January 20th at 4:20 p. We're ending the stream at a good time, 4:20 p.m. Just saying. 496 people made it to the end of the stream. I appreciate each and every one of you, and we are now a little bit more rational because of it. Inauguration day tomorrow. Got the debt showdown. Stay calm, stay cool, stay collected. I will catch you all later this week on a Wednesday. Till then, peace.